Everybody knows that Pennsylvania is ground zero. Everybody knows if we win Pennsylvania, we win the White House. And look, as I always say, we are solving the mail-in ballot problem. That's what we're doing. Here's why door knocking works. There's millions of dollars spent on both sides, on TV ads, radio ads, mail pieces, digital ads. All of that needs to happen, and both sides do it. But the difference is this. When you show up at a door and you can have a real conversation, people are muting their TV. People are ignoring the digital ads. The text messages, my gosh, I've probably gotten 1,000 text messages in the last hour. All of that is noise. What's not noise is this idea of a young person going to somebody's door, engaging with them, talking to them about the issues that matter to them. That's why door knocking is so paramount. Cool thing about the PHA is we're knocking 500,000 doors. And those conversations, man, that's going to be the difference maker. And so I tell people, whether it's the left with their literature saying, yeah, door knocking is the most impactful thing you can do, or if it's even just looking at the cost of what it takes to connect with these people. But it's hard work. You're not just working with the professional class, editing a video, and then doing a media buy.
Yeah, I just wanted to show you guys that video because I think they're doing some fantastic work. Like I said, we need door knockers as well as people on the phones, right? It's coming down to the end, right? As I've said before, no excuses. No excuses. Come election day, I don't want to hear anybody crying and complaining. Oh, man, they did this, they did that. Well, you knew they were going to, so why didn't you do something about it? Oh, man, see, the pipes burst on election day, or they said they ran out of paper, or the printers jammed. Well, you knew they were going to try these shenanigans, so why didn't you vote early? Oh, man, you know, they pulled the shenanigans. Well, you knew they were going to, so why weren't you a door knocker on the phones, right? Why weren't you chasing ballots like I just showed you there at the beginning? No excuses. No excuses. Right? You guys know the old saying, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. All right? I just wanted to get into that. Now, let's get into some good news. I want to show you guys this clip from Benny and Mark Mitchell from Rasmussen, who I've always talked about Rasmussen being a poll that I personally trust. As well as a couple others, right? Atlas Intel being one of them, Trafalgar being another as well. But take a listen to what Rasmussen recently had to say. Let's dive in.
Let's talk through some of these projections really quickly. Can you walk us through this weekend's polls leading up to your poll here in Pennsylvania? But there are some big corporate media polls who you came on our show, Mark, pre-hurricane, and you said, the Kamala collapse, give it a week or two, is exactly what you said. And that was probably 2 weeks ago. And here we are with multiple corporate media polls coming out this weekend. I'd love for you to do a little bit of a roundup, but NBC News was the one that shocked me, showing that Trump may win the popular freaking vote. It's nuts.
After putting out Harris +5. Again, let's not forget how absolutely in the tank NBC News was. So again, when I polled Pennsylvania in September, I had a tie, but that really was, some of these major events they get a lot of press coverage on, they do get a juice for about 2 or 3 weeks. I think it's more what pollsters call a response bias than anybody actually changing their mind. It's like somebody saw Kamala Harris do well on the idiot box and they're like, oh yeah, I'll pick up this phone call. But there hasn't really been anything like that. And when we went into the field, we got Trump +3 in Pennsylvania. Now, we could do a roundup of all the states, but what you just showed was Trump winning, and it all hinged on Pennsylvania. And all of these numbers here, if you look at Real Clear Politics, there are some blue things in the Pennsylvania aggregate. But for instance, the biggest lead besides Bloomberg Morning Consult, who just sucks and we shouldn't even consider them, is New York Times Siena. But they oversampled Biden 2020 supporters, like I said, by 8 points. So that's a Trump +4. So you have us Trump +3, them Trump +4, Insider Advantage Trump +2, the Hill Emerson Trump +1, Trafalgar Trump +3. Rich Barris is coming out with another Trump lead. It's done. Trump's winning Pennsylvania. The only question is he going to win by more, and is he going to drag McCormick over the finish line? But like this has kind of looked like this for a month or two. Trump's up by 0.1 now. That's because Morning Consult and New York Times Siena are dragging that number down. But anybody could have looked at this page a month ago and said, well, look, you've looked at the numbers at the top too, like Clinton +8. No way. She lost. Biden plus 7. No way. He won by 1. So there's going to be polling error again to the left. Trump's going to have maybe a blowout in Pennsylvania, just depending on whether or not the Postal Service shows up for him.
Yeah, so great news. Now, obviously, once again, we still have to show up, right? We still have to show up. But one area where Kamala is having some major trouble is black men. And I want to show you this clip from Anton Daniels, who I've talked about before, and I've shown you guys clips of him before. But he was asked, why is he voting for Trump? And his answer was perfect. Check it out.
I want to know why you're advocating you're voting for Trump, or you support him. So can you tell me the policies, the reason? I just want to know what policy.
I noticed that Kamala Harris is filling a lot of Trump's talking points. So, for example, no taxes on tips. I do believe that we need to have a lower tax rate across the board. One of the things that he stands on is that we need to have an audit of the federal government, because the federal government is not spending our money correctly. I think that there's a lot of mismanagement. I think that there's a lot of waste. So a proposed policy that creates a governing board that's led by Elon Musk, a true businessman, to go in and do an evaluation of every single branch of government in order to make sure that we're running lean. I stand for that. I stand for less government. I don't think that government should play a larger role in our life, which is also.
But
I'm sorry. You gonna let me answer the question?
You're right. Go ahead.
I do stand for smaller government, which also spills over into the whole reproductive rights issue, because I don't think that everything should be governed on a federal level. I think that things need to go back into the state and people vote based off of their interests. And then as a result, that's where the law stands. I also believe in more pro-business, and I believe in capitalism at an extreme level. I don't believe in these socialist agendas where you can then tax your way and continue to raise taxes on people that already pay the overwhelming majority of the taxes inside of this country. I do like the idea of no tax on overtime. Again, I know that Kamala Harris stole the no tax on tips. And if you look at some of the things that he's done and implemented, for example, as lowering the tax rate, what it did was it generated more revenue for the federal government, because it allowed for businesses to then bring the majority of their revenue over into the United States of America and invest in manufacturing. I do support tariffs, and obviously the Biden and Harris administration, they support tariffs also, because they left the overwhelming majority of the tariffs that Trump implemented against China and other places in this trade war. I love the fact that he went back and he renegotiated the North American Free Trade Agreement, which made us more competitive, and it helps to save the steel industry. I do believe in tariffs because it allows for us. That's the original way in which we were building this country, was tariffs. Because tariffs and taxes on things that were coming in when people decided that they wanted to do business, which allows for us to be more competitive with China. Because if you look at how they do business in China, Tesla is the only company that was able to go over there and not have to partner with a company in which they stole our proprietary technology to then use against us over here in the United States of America. And so when you look at a lot of these proxy wars, which I'm against all of these wars, and the last 12 of the 16 years in which Democrats have been in office, they've been warmongers. And so when you seen that there was no new wars under Trump, and that we need to spend more money on American citizens and here in the United States of America, I also support the border policies that Trump is trying to implement, which is a continuation of what Obama implemented, but then they went against it when Trump then became president of the United States of America. I believe that we need to have stronger borders. I believe in immigration, but legal migration. And I believe that we need to vet people that come over into this country. It's a lot more policies that I actually support and I believe in, both in the past and what's proposed in the future. But I think that Trump ultimately, I don't want handouts. I don't want people giving out money. I don't want to become a socialist environment. I don't want to pay more taxes. I believe that the system is already okay from what we had, so we do need to go back to that. More importantly, I believe in removing government to allow for us to thrive individually. I don't believe in giving out money. I don't believe in being overtaxed. I don't believe in larger government. I don't believe in open borders. I don't believe in being a warmonger. I don't believe in giving money over to Ukraine, Taiwan, Israel. I don't believe in proxy wars. I don't believe in any of that. So for me, it's very simple. It's very clear. I believe that Trump is a person for everybody, not based off of identity politics. And I also don't support the fact that government has to have a hand in every single thing that we do. It creates more bureaucracy. And I think that all of these numbers are inflated. If you see what's happening in all of these cities across the United States of America, everywhere where it's blue, it's absolutely a death toll. Chicago is a death city. Oakland is a death city. New York is suffering. All of these places are under the burden of these same policies that's been implemented. We need more police. We need stronger police presence. We need more police training. And the whole immunity thing is fake also, because it doesn't absolve people from being responsible for the decisions that they make when they police citizens. It doesn't, especially when they follow in their training and the manual. So all of these false narratives, all of these false things that they telling y'all is a lie. And I can't think of one single Kamala Harris policy that wasn't copied from Trump that would then lead us to believe that we're going to have a better space than we was in the last 3.5 years. We're not.
Couldn't have said it any better myself. I mean, and that's why I wanted to show y'all that clip. I mean, hey, salute to Anton Daniels, man. Salute. Couldn't have said it any better. I mean, and I love the fact that he brought up, a lot of these cities that are run by Democrats, they're I'm gonna keep it PG. They're poop holes, right? Look at Chirac, aka Chicago. Can't blame that on Republicans. Republican ain't ran that city in 90 years. Literally. I think the last time a Republican ran that city was 90 years ago. Is that Republicans' fault or is that Democrats? Right? You look at all of these blue cities, Baltimore, right? Terrible. San Francisco. They literally have an app in San Fran that will show you where there's human feces on the sidewalk. Is that Republicans' fault? I mean, just look at California in general. It's been run by Democrats. It is absolutely disgusting there. Disgusting. So I love the fact that he brought that up because, we have great examples of what happens when you allow Democrats to run your cities or your states. We've seen what happens. We've seen it. I just named a few examples just right off the top of the head. Man, absolutely love it. But also, all of the other points that he made were absolutely fantastic. And I feel like a lot of folks feel that way. In at this point, I don't care what Kamala does because now she's trying to do the whole, I got a plan for black men. I'm going to give you this and give you that and give you this too and give you that, right? And I think that's worked in the past, but I don't think it's going to work now. People, they have overplayed their hand with this whole, I'm just going to give you a bunch of handouts card, right? That never actually come anyway. And a lot of them are unconstitutional, like the loan forgiveness, right? So I don't think it's going to work. I genuinely don't think it's going to work. If she does garner some kind of support from it, it's going to be so minuscule that it won't even be noticed. Won't even be noticed. And this is just a last ditch effort, right? Because one, she's in office already. So if she really wanted to get these things done for black men, right, she could go to Joe Biden and say, hey, I would like you to implement these things right now. And if Joe Biden didn't do it, because people are going to say, well, Kamala's not the president. No shit, Sherlock. She could go to mainstream media, all of her friends that we've watched them edit interviews, chop them up to make her look good, right? The 60 Minutes interview, I think I made a YouTube short on that and an actual video on it where I showed you guys the original versus, the edited version because they forgot that they released the original before the edited version and they didn't take down the original. So it was easy to see that they were editing the crap out of that interview to try to make her seem good. But anyway, she could go to her friends in the media and say, hey, I just went to Joe Biden. I just spoke to him to implement these things and he refuses. Easy. People will forgive you for not doing it then. But you know why she doesn't? Because she ain't going to do any of that stuff anyway. Right? So for those folks that are going to say, well, Kamala's not the president, she can still go to Joe Biden and ask him to do certain things. And if he doesn't, she can go to mainstream media and call him out for it. And people will forgive her and say, oh, well, okay, well, then she'll do it, when she's president. But she has no intention on doing any of that. That is just to try to win votes. In the fourth quarter, oh, yeah, guys, I'm going to give you a bunch of handouts. No, it's not working. Democrats have been doing that for 60 years. You've played it now. That card is played out now. But anyway, I just wanted to show you guys that because they are getting absolutely desperate with this stuff. And folks like Anton Daniels and myself are reasons why. And it's great to see. And as I showed you guys at the beginning as well, we've got some boots on the ground doing some fantastic work. Elon Musk PAC is paying people $30 an hour. So if you're interested in that, Elon Musk has a PAC that is willing to pay people $30 an hour. And then all the polls, right? All the polls are pointing in the right direction. But again, we still have to show up. No excuses. No excuses. Come hell or high water. Show up. Show up. People living in these areas that have been devastated. I understand. But you got to show up. You got to show up. We saw what happens when Democrats are in control. You remember what happened to Maui? We all remember that. We remember what happened to East Palestine in Ohio. We remember that. We've seen what happened to North Carolina. We remember that. We saw what Kamala did with the Florida hurricanes and trying to politicize it and call out Ron DeSantis. You remember that. That just happened, right? So if you want that to continue for you to be put last, then I guess don't vote. But if you want to be put first, as you should, as a tax-paying American citizen, then you know what to do. Show up. And show up early. Don't just show up on the day of. Show up early if you can. Y'all stay safe out there. Peace and love. I'm out.